In this lesson, we'll learn to set up reference images in ZBrush. So ZBrush is a really cool free-form kind of building asset creation application, but there may be times where we want to use images as a guide for creating maybe the character or the object that we want to create. So let's take a look at how to do that. Let's first just bring in a simple object. So I'm just going to draw a sphere onto the canvas again. Go ahead and make that a poly mesh. And so what we want to do is, right now it's just kind of floating in space, right? And we want some sort of more indication of where we are on our canvas. So to do that, we'll turn on the floor. So you can see here, my floor is actually up at the top, so I'll just rotate around, reorient myself, kind of pull back. And you can see that it looks a little bit off, and that's because we don't have our perspective on. So we'll turn that on. That looks a little bit more like what we would expect. So our sphere is now sitting on this floor, which is kind of shaded green. Now you can see there's 3 different axis buttons on this floor, and right now only the y-axis is selected, so that's why you only see that floor. If we go into Draw, you can see this floor button is activated, and it's got the same axis highlighted here. We can change the elevation of the floor and also the fill mode, so you can see we can make that more opaque or less opaque. We also have grid size and number of tiles, so we can increase that if we want to. Okay, to change that. So let's take a look at how we can get sort of the other sides of this box, because right now we just have kind of the floor, but we want sort of the walls to be able to put our images on. So let's come in here and activate our X and Z. There we go. And so now you can see that we've got a red grid and a blue grid in addition to the green one. So if we come into Draw, okay, you'll see that now we have, if we go all the way to the bottom, we have the front, back, up, down, and left, right. So up, down you can think of as the floor. So we don't really want an object or an image on that one. But for the front, back, let's come in and you can see there's a map 1. Let's activate that. Now it's going to allow us to bring in a texture, and we want to actually import an image. So let's go ahead and hit import. Let's navigate to our referenced files folder in the project files, and I'm going to choose this front image. I'll go ahead and click on that. So there's our image, and you can see it comes in on the blue wall there. Okay, so now we can see it. So let's do the same thing on the red one. So we'll go into Draw, and let's go in, instead of front, back, we'll go left, right. And you can see here, we've got a couple of different slots. Let's go ahead and import another file. We'll import the side view and get out of there. Now you can see here that looking at this, this is facing front, whereas our side view is facing the other way. So we can come in, and this is going to be on the side view. So let's flip it. And now it's going to be in the right spot. Now, if you're building something based on this, you're going to want to probably turn off perspective, and that'll give you just a straight on view of that. And then we could rotate around and we can see sort of the side view there. Okay, and if you need to come in to any of these views, you can also offset this. So if you need to offset it a little bit so it's more centered, you can do that as well. It's really easy to do. And that's a great way to work with reference. So in the next lesson, we'll actually use this and we'll start working with our Z-spheres. Now, if you want to turn off your reference, you can just turn off the floor, or you can turn off each individual side. Okay. You can also turn this button here. I'll push this button called front, and that'll allow you to kind of see this image in the front there. That way you get a better view and you can kind of see what's behind it. That'll let you, it'll kind of aid in the placement of your different pieces of geometry. Okay, let's turn off the floor for a second. I want to show you something that's kind of cool here. You can also, if you just have images, let's say on your desktop. So let's say we have this image on our desktop, and I'm just going to put it right in that same spot, but I'm just going to click on ZBrush. we can go up here to the very top, and there's this see-through slider. We can actually make the whole interface semi-transparent. And so now we can just use an image that's sitting on our desktop as a guide in creating. So that's kind of a cool feature that you might check out as well. In addition to having, your images that you can actually bring in here. Okay, now we don't have time to go through all of the settings here, but just keep in mind you've got left, right, up, down, front, back that indicate the where those images are mapped, and then you can sort of move them around, scale them, and so forth. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we'll take our images and we'll use a really cool method in ZBrush to build up geometry. It's called Z-spheres, and it's a really nice way to build up an armature for to kind of start our character out. So let's go ahead and do that next.